Tervetuloa takaisin FINNRUNS 2024 pariin, ja näitä hulluja brittejä vaan riittää, jotka tulee keskellä talvea tänne. We have Viper. Why in the name of God did you come to Finland during the winter?
I don't know. You tell me. You guys accepted the run, so...
We are happy to have you, but the stage is yours.
Thank you. Just a quick one before we do start. I ain't got any game sound, so I don't know where that is. I don't know if it's possible to quickly fix that somehow. But whilst that's going on, yeah, hello. You guys saw me yesterday. I was doing Dirt 3 against Samoyed. And long story short, yeah, I lost that race. But now comes the one that I've been practicing a lot, which is Driver 1, or, well, Driver as it's known in Europe. America got Driver, You Are the Wheelman, and the Japanese release, I do not know how to pronounce it, but it got a really cool artwork. The reason why we're playing the NTSC version of the game is simple, mainly because of the fact that, well, it's the quicker version out of the two. And yeah, that's kind of about it. Oh yeah, I got it. It's going through now. Yay! Tech issues solved. Okay. Right, we'll get out the demo and we'll get into the run. So, I do actually have the route on my phone. So this is the first time I've actually done this on site. So I've actually had to take notes from other places, mainly from myself. But anyway, yeah, we'll get started. So I'll give you guys a countdown. We'll start in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so Driver 1. Yeah, now there is a plot to this game, and I always forget how to explain most of it. But long story short, you play as a guy called John Tanner, or Tanner as he's known. This has one of the most infamous first levels in the game, which I'm sure everybody is familiar with. So, in the game itself, there's actually more than just a car park mission. Now, one of the things that does come in useful here, and you will see some like here because we are running on official console stuff, is that between the game itself, there's a massive reference to a film that released back in, I think it was 1978, which was called, if I remember correctly, it was, there we go, nice, good stuff, and that's how you do it. The actual record for that is 20 seconds, I think, to beat that. It's quite remarkable, really, because they're able to kill off two things in one go. But yeah, there was a film that released back in, I think it was 1978, simply nicknamed The Driver, and in that particular film, which is what Driver 1 was based off, or heavily influenced by, there was a particular part where it involved the main character in it. I forget what he's actually called, but the main character who's in the film, he ends up driving around a car park and all the rest of it. So a few things that I will point out straight away. So we are playing on a North American PS2 90K one with fastest speed enabled to get the best to get the best load times possible. You'll also notice straight off the bat that we're playing in first person. This is to reduce the amount of stuff that is on screen. And we're also going to be looking left and right quite a fair bit. So you might just see me driving blind for some of this. That's mainly because of the fact that, unlike emulation, which technically I suppose you can kind of class this as emulation, but regardless, is that you actually have quite a bit of slowdown, and it's worse. I'd say it's worse in PAL than it is in NTSC, but regardless, the game has like pretty bad frame rate issues most of the time. So we're going to sit here and wait until the 15-second thing happens. I will mention as well that the fastest speed does kind of affect the music a little bit. So you'll hear like sometimes that the drum stuff that happens and things like that, that ends up repeating sometimes, but that's again because of the fastest speed option. So, but yeah, the soundtrack was made by a guy called Alistair Brimble, I believe. Now, Alistair himself, I've never actually spoken to him directly, but he didn't just make music for, that was very close, he didn't just make music for Driver 1 and Driver 2. There's actually quite a few games that he has made music for, including one of my other series, which I decided to run yesterday with Dirt 3. But when it was known as the Colin McRae Rally series, he actually did a He did like the theme music for the Game Boy Color version, I believe. So yeah, he gets about for sure, and he's done a few other bits of music in recent years. So the Driver 1 game itself, or sorry, the Driver series, hasn't had an entry since 2011, a actual entry since 2011. However, the community that supports Driver, and I think it's called the Driver Madness Discord, or Driver community, whichever one you want to give it its name for. Basically, they have got their own game. Obviously, the community is quite what's it called? Oops. Yeah, community is quite well. Let's just say they're very passionate with the game. So much so that it was like, oh, we're going to create our own Driver game. Ubisoft's not going to create it, so we'll create our own, which they did. Can I get the end here without I lose him? Damn, I didn't lose him in time. So this is one of the main catches about Driver. So at the end of most missions, you'll end up finding that where the end point is, you'll need to lose the police. And sometimes the police will follow you all the way to the end. Sometimes you'll have to lose them or destroy them. There are some missions, which I will quickly mention, that are extremely difficult, where losing the police at the very last minute is not impossible, but it feels it. Now, I will quickly start off by just saying as well, mission-wise, we've got a certain set amount of missions that we're going to be doing, or set list of missions that we are doing, but there are many branching paths in Driver, which is an interesting part about it. For example, some of the missions in particular, there are ones that involve taking a taxi stealing a taxi, and taking it back to your hideout, which is an extremely difficult mission in New York. There are ones that involve crates with trucks. More specifically, you've got a crate in the back of a pickup truck, and you've got to make sure that you don't wreck it, which is quite easy to do. There are quite a fair few chase missions that we will be doing. And for those that never got past the interview, like the first mission, here you go, you get to actually see the full game. There was an actual game behind it. I don't know if I'll lose this cop in time, but yeah, most of the RNG, like the time save for this game, comes from the police. So, for example, my record, I think it is, for this is 1:13:20, I think, but my summer best is like a 1:07. And that's like most of it is just literally from, well, it's obviously from driving and traffic spawning, but it is also from where the police will show up right at the very end. There is actually something which I've yet to even mention. This is probably a great example to use it now. So there are these particular lines, like now, where providing the cops don't spawn in front of you, where I can literally sit there and not get hit by anything. It's like a kill-free zone where you can just sit there and I can just like look to the side and I'm not going to hit anything. Some cars do veer to the left and the right. I mean, my car is starting to veer to the left here, but regardless of that, I'm going to get his attention. No, I'm not. That was actually pretty good. So yeah, the missions are all split up. There's 4 cities altogether. You've got Miami, San Francisco, Los Angeles, which I'll just say now is quite buggy, but you'll see that when we get to it. And then we have New York, which caused me to create a emote for that city, because in New York, one of the worst things about it is it's full of taxi drivers, and they always just pull out on you for no reason whatsoever. So much so, they've killed like a fair few of my runs, so I ended up getting that mad about it. I was like, I'm going to create an emote. Yeah, like I said, the taxis are horrendous. So, to kind of, like I said, I will try and explain bits of the plot from what I can remember, but long story short, we've done the interview, so we've got the job. We've just done work for a bunch of guys, and they've robbed a bank. We've got them away from the police. There's a guy called Tico we've just picked up and dropped off, who's performed a assassination. And gee, wonder what this mission's about, the cleanup. Yeah, so the cleanup is literally a case of, right, we've now got a dead guy at a house, and we need to get the body out of there. Believe it or not, for most people, myself included, I won't lie, is that playing Driver, I never thought that the plot was, let's just say, about like a murder spree or something like that. Yeah, there is like a story and stuff like that, but if you pay attention to it, it's like, oh wow, okay, so this story's a bit grim. But realistically, it's like, oh, we're concentrating on his driving. It's not too bad. The music's not too bad either for a PS1 game too. But there is something that I can definitely mention about this. Is that, for those that don't know or were unaware, so back in 1999 when this released, the Grand Theft Auto series had 2 games out by this point. However, the one thing that Grand Theft Auto wasn't doing that Driver did do was had cars in a 3D environment. Now, interestingly enough, the damage system that is used in Driver actually had several like different stages. I'm going to lose him at the end here. Yes, I am. Nice. Very nice. So what had happened was we obviously had Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2, and obviously London 1969, I think, as well, in that time. And then Driver released, and it basically outdid GTA in every way. Because GTA, okay, yeah, you do a murdering spree, and you have weapons and police and everything like that. Stuff that Driver had, well, part of the murdering weapons and stuff. But, yeah, this actually did better. It was actually seen as one of the better games in the series. Driver 2 then came out 1 year later, which, for those that don't know, did get a unofficial PC port, courtesy of someone called Soapy, who basically managed to allow, alongside the community as well, has made a unofficial PC port, but the unofficial PC port actually runs at a stable 30 FPS and is actually playable. There's a lot of new features, but again, that's for another time. Would highly recommend it. If you ever played Driver 2, you'd probably remember how bad the frame rate was. Maybe the same with Driver 1 as well. I will quickly mention another thing as well, is that this game was released on PlayStation 1. It did get a PC release. Later down the line, it got a iOS release as well. I think it was in 2010 from memory, something along them lines. The 2010 remake, I have not been, well, the 2010 iOS port anyway, I've not actually been able to try and emulate in any way. I've tried my hand at, picking it up and everything, but I've not had much luck with it, unfortunately. But yeah, the PC release, ironically enough, this cop might come in here. Is he going to come here? Yes, he is. Okay. Hello, cop. And goodbye. And he's done. But yeah, the PC release is just short of, well, providing you get a really good run on the PC release, you can actually beat the game in under an hour because there's a few speed tricks in that one. Less so there. I think it was different everywhere else. Yeah, that's Rufus. Okay. I had to just double check with that one. But yeah, like I said, 3 different versions of the game. There are several different mods that you can get regarding, I say mods, but one of the games that was made by the community was a game called the Driver Syndicate. I said before about mentioning that the Driver series ended officially in 2011. They made it in 2017, I think, was when they started working on it. But yeah, the community as a whole obviously came up with that one, and people have been going absolutely stir crazy with making mods for it. They've been introducing vehicles from other games. They've made their own vehicles and things like that. Recently, they have found out how to mod Driver 3 and Driver Parallel lines, albeit not to a massive extent. As far as I know with Driver 1, it was a case of, and they were known for quite a long time, so I'm sure people may remember, when you used to actually put cheat codes in games and used to get some random effects and things like that. Yeah, so this game had Game Shark codes that you could activate, and there's quite a variety of different bits and pieces too. So obviously you can disable HUDs and things like that. Obviously make your car invincible and things like that as well. But one of the more interesting ones for me at least was the fact that in the game, which you may have seen on the introduction at some point, or even if you're just browsing the menus for this game, there was a bunch of car chases. There was 4 in particular, and normally it's just a case of whilst the game's running in the background, the game, whilst it's idle, it'll start playing one of the random 4. And by using Game Shark cheats, you can actually play the chases, which is really cool. Another thing to mention as well, there's a big difference between the PC and the PS1 release, is there's a 5th city, which you can only play in PC. You can play it on PS1, however, again, you need Game Shark cheat codes to do it, which is you can play in the city of Newcastle. Now, Newcastle is not America. Newcastle is the UK. So it's like, why the heck is it actually in Driver 1 in the first place? The reason it's in Driver 1 in the first place is because Well, Reflections at the time, I think it was, they were based in Newcastle in the northeast of England. And yeah, they wanted to try and make their own city in the game, and the map is not that big, it's quite small. But if you go in the credits on the PS1, you can watch them drive around it themselves. But on the PC, you can actually play it, which is interesting. So we're down to our first of... I know I haven't really explained much of the plot so far, but we're basically at the point in the story now where we've met up with an informant called Rufus, and we've actually got our first chase mission. Now, chase missions are interesting because the routes that the AI takes are completely random. So you obviously want to get like a good pattern. Oh yeah, I forget to mention as well, they've got infinite mass. So if you get in the way of one of them, God help you, basically. So we're going to try and get... Now, two other things to mention as well is that the actual... the physics on this one are very interesting. So you can grind the cars down like that, or you can stick in front of them, whichever. But also these sort of missions happen. So they're a two-parter. I think this is like one of two, maybe, I'm not quite sure. But basically, you take down the car first, and you have to get to the hideout. And this is, again, why there's a massive difference with some are best and all the rest of it. But yeah, there you go. So, whilst we're getting Jean Paul out of there, I always used to call him Jean Paul, to be honest. I don't know why, but I think it's Jean Paul. But I think it's pronounced in the game as Jean Paul as well. So, we have 3 highways as well on Miami. You'll never see the one on the far side. You'll see us drive on this one, and you'll see us drive on the thicker highway, the main highway, I'll call it. Mainly because of the fact that these are the ones where, again, this is where the missions tell us to go and things like that. Now, I did mention as well, like I said just then, about the time save stuff. Driver 2 has a kind of similar one, but it's not nearly as prominent as it is here. Also, one thing that does happen on this mission, which is quite fun at times, is you can get some interesting effects that happen. And by that I mean, when you get to the end, there's a garage that you have to drive in. If you drive in that garage and accidentally get a cop on you by accident, for example, what ends up happening next is you'll end up having a problem where the garage will shut and the cop will be stuck outside. Now you'll notice that I have a time limit that I've got to adhere to here. So if I lose the cop now, which I ain't gonna because he's coming after me, which is good. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Get rid of him. Like that. So you know, there you go. So that's the... It's not very often that it happens, but should it happen to you, it can get you in a bit of trouble. So you're better off restarting if that ever happens. Now, from memory, I think... Let me just get my splits up for this one. Yeah, okay. So this is where one of the main... I'm not going to say choking points is, but this is one of the, like... Miami, you sit in Miami for I think 22, 23 minutes, maybe 25 minutes on a bad day. But this is the reason why. So this mission is about, it says 2 minutes 45, but it's about 2.5 minutes long. Now the car I'm driving is the fastest car in the game. It is also extremely fragile, meaning a slight dent and the car's like classed as wrecked. You do get, obviously you can touch cars and things like that, there's nothing to say you can't, but a slight like chink in the paintwork and damage goes pretty high. So what we're going to be doing is, it's a very risky mission, this one, but as you can see we can easily get away from the police, which is quite useful. But now this is the big but about this mission. The reason why it's very hard in the first place, and I guarantee anyone that had tried playing this mission casually would probably struggle, is because of the fact that when you get to the end of this mission, you need to have no cops following you. And usually what happens is the game will spawn a police car right at the very end, somewhere. Now it either heads away from you, or it heads towards you, or it's something different entirely. Also, that was extremely close. And for the sake of things as well, there may be times where I'm playing it safe and I'm just looking forward rather than looking sideways, so yeah. But I will be playing it safe. The other thing is as well is the chase missions. As I said before, they're quite random with the routes that they take. But obviously, the optimal ones are like, you know, very short. You can get them instantly. I think, to be honest, if you learn every single chase route, then it's not too bad. And there'll probably be a fast way of catching them every single time. But we'll see. Yeah, so it's quite a long one, this one. I'm gonna, for the sake of things, I'm gonna... Okay, he's gone that way. I will go that way. That works for me. So I was gonna actually just pedal it past him, but unfortunately he could easily have turned into me there, which is a shame. But yeah, very hazardous mission. Again, this is also the reason why the run is as quick as it is because there are very risky missions in there. There obviously are like mandatory missions, for example. So the way that Miami goes in terms of mission structure, if I read it from start to finish, is you have the interview, which is the car park thing, the bank job, Tico's ride, the cleanup, bust out, Tanner meets Rufus, bust out Jean-Paul, Superfly drive, which we're doing now. Okay, that was a pretty good spawn. I might get lucky here. Take out D'Angio's car, which is a chase mission. And finally, the informant. Now, key question is what's going to happen next? Going to get a cop? No, I'm not. I got lucky. Yeah, nice. Okay, first choke point got past, I guess. The thing is with the chase missions aren't too bad because, well, you can just reset until you get a good cycle. The other reason is because if you do some of the other missions as well, like I said, there are many branching paths with missions. So we're obviously doing the ones that are the shortest. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? It's a speed run. But if you accidentally pick one of the other ones, you might end up doing a mission that's like 8 minutes long, or it's either 8 minutes or it's 3-4 minutes and then another 5-minute mission on top of that. So yeah, who knows? So this is take out D'Angio's car. So D'Angio is a guy that we don't like, so we're going to chase after him. And he has took a slightly different route. Which way is he going? Okay, he's going this way. Interesting. So this should be interesting to see if I can get him. May be able to here. Okay, got a knock on him there. Oh, okay, easy. Okay, where's he going? He's going over there. Again, with the chase missions as well, is that he might just randomly turn across me, so... Okay, no, he's not. Is he going for the highway? I think he is. No, he's not going for the highway. This is interesting. Again, as I was saying, with the chase missions, they're completely random with the routes that they take. Wow, okay. Nice stop. Can I get in the alleyway? Okay, he's wrecking himself now. Might be able to get him after the alleyway here, then. Okay. 100 mile an hour shunt, maybe? No? Guess not. Okay, where is he? He's over there. Just gotta keep up with him now. He's really going around the houses, D'Angio, god damn. And he's also wrecking other cars as well. It's not just me wrecking them then. Where is he? There he is. So I should be able to oh, I know where he's going. I think I know where he's going. Yep, that works for me. Aha! Gotcha. Nice. Also, so in chase missions normally, so there's a specific amount of time that you usually wait. For some reason, in that mission, when you wreck D'Angio, it usually takes, I'd say, like 5, maybe 10 seconds after you wreck him for like the well done text and then the, mission passed text to come up. But in most missions, it's about 4 seconds, I think. 3 or 4 seconds. It's very short. So this is the end of Miami, which is called The Informant. And the Informant is actually the first mission that we'll actually see that is set in the rain. Now, bizarrely enough, for weather physics, your car will slide because wet tarmac, it kind of makes sense to slide a little bit. Apparently, ice physics was what came to mind when they thought of wet tarmac. But also, the other thing is too, is that with this Informant, so you'll see that we've got to catch someone called Jesse. Again, to try and explain the plot a little bit more when I can. So, as I was saying before, we met a guy called Tico. We ended up having to clean up his mess because he assassinated somebody. So we cleaned up his mess. Then we had an informant who the police had been tracking, which was regarding... Apparently, we'd actually been told at the start of the game that there's a guy called Rufus is in the picture. And we eventually got to meet this Rufus. And when we met this Rufus, he brought his girlfriend with him. Or he calls her Pussycat, but you get the idea. So one of the main things about it is that obviously we've gone and met Rufus. He's then gone, oh yeah, I need you to bust out a guy called Jean-Paul for me. So obviously that's how we busted him out and why we busted him out. Also, the police are pretty timid at this point, and we have these no-kill zones as well where we just randomly lose the police. But yeah, just to explain a bit more of the plot. So we bust out Jean-Paul, and obviously we've just got like little side missions and stuff like that. There we go. And that's the end of Miami. Nice. All done. I'm kind of glad we get out of Miami because Miami is pretty bad. Like I say, it has a lot of choke points in it, so I'm glad we're past that. So, what ends up happening after Jean-Paul, you bust him out and everything like that. You have Superfly Drive, which, like, so you've got to deliver some rich car, like, really fast car to someone. We then find out there's a guy called D'Angelo in the picture, which was the reason why we took him out. And then at the start of the informant in the cutscene, the girl that we was just chasing on the tram, which is called Jessie, she shoots Rufus. Hence the reason why why we ended up following her to San Francisco, because of the fact that, well, I say following her to San Francisco, but basically we found out that she obviously shot Rufus. We then got her in for questioning, which is the cutscene that we'd skipped. And then it's like, right, okay, I don't suppose you know where the guy is. So obviously then she says he's in San Francisco, hence the reason why we're here. So now we're looking for someone. Now, I think the guy that we're looking for is a guy called Slater, from memory. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna play this safe. This is also a way of getting past the police. You're just like, hello, officer. Yep, slowly, and then just put your foot down again. So there's like on the something that the PS1 version doesn't have that the PC version does have is on PS1. Well, that was close. Forgot about the tram. Is you don't have, from memory, if I can remember this properly off the top of my head. So PS1 has no like speedometer or anything to tell you what your speed is, whereas on PC you have a little speedometer in the bottom right hand corner. It just gives you your speed, like tells you how many miles an hour or how many kilometers you're doing. But the other thing is as well is that after a certain speed, so for example I think it's 60 miles an hour, your speed will start to flash, and that basically means that if you pass a cop at that speed, the cop's gonna start. He'll come at you and he'll start chasing you and everything like that. Whereas on PS1, you just have to roughly guess as to how fast he's going. Also, the tram lines are a complete no-kill zone. The police will swerve onto it, but again, here's like another great example of a no-kill zone. There's another cop that's chasing us. But yeah, this actually makes the run a lot more easier. And for the most part as well, I will just say this is it is mainly damage control and things like that, and adapting to traffic on the fly, for example, like that guy. Yeah, you get the idea. So, San Francisco is actually one of my personal favourite areas of the game. I used to play San Francisco a hell of a lot when I was younger. I don't know what it is about San Francisco. Maybe it's the hills or something like that. Like, I just generally have a massive fondness for the place. I really enjoyed it when I actually visited it for real. Yeah, I don't think in this game, maybe you can see it, but I'm not sure, I think you can actually see Alcatraz Island, but I could be wrong. Also, for years, and I can't be the only one either, but for years I always thought that there was no way to get to that. I always thought you had to go down the back of the warehouse and then in, because there's a gate on the back end of the warehouse. But if you just drive dead close to the wall, it'll just trigger the end point, which is always good stuff. So that is the casino job done, and we now move into our new apartment in San Francisco. You can tell we've moved a bit different. So we're going to start a mission. Now, this mission goes down quite well with my personal audience because the guy starts off by saying, "Come see me down Fisherman's Wharf," and then that usually is the end of that. So this mission is called Guns in the Trunk. It's a two-part mission. So part one is to get to Fisherman's Wharf, hence the reason where he's asked them to go. And then the second one is to go and meet someone, I think it is, or drop whatever you picked up off. Drop that off somewhere. Now, the ironic thing about this is they give us, as you can see, a massive time set. So it's like 3 minutes 20. and we're going to get there in less than 1 minute. Now, when I was doing practice of this not long ago, one of the theories as to why this mission's timer is so long, it wasn't given by me, it was by, I think, the Survivor, who runs Driver 2, amongst a few other games as well. And to cut a long story short, he reckoned the reason why might have been a case of originally the timer may have been for the full mission, and they meant to have it as one massive mission rather than a two-parter. But now, obviously, when they had it as a two-parter, they ended up, well, yeah, accidentally forgetting about the timer. Also, yeah, we're going to make sure we reverse for that one, mainly because of the fact that when we start the second part, we're going the other way. You'll see me do that on a couple of missions as well. But yeah, so we picked up the goods. I think it is guns. I mean, I could be wrong, but anyway. But one thing that I never really understood, as I said earlier, like I said, now I know why, after so many years, and also playing the game casually and actually paying attention to the story a little bit, was the fact that I always wondered why this game was rated as a 15 in the UK, or it was like players 15 and up could play it, or in America it's T for teen. I will actually say as well, there was another difference I didn't mention. So you may remember I mentioned about the PAL and North American release. North American runs faster, it can touch 30 when it can, that is. This game was also quite bad for frame rate, hence the reason why we try and improve it as much as possible. But the Japanese version runs at 30 frames per second as well. But one of the main differences, which a lot of people I'm sure will be happy to hear, because anyone that struggled with the car park thing at the start, you'll be happy to know in the Japanese release you don't have to do that. If you so desire, you may think, well, why didn't you run the Japanese release? Well, unfortunately, I couldn't match anything that I've done on NTSC with the Japanese release. But the reason why I say you don't need to do it on the Japanese release is when you wreck the car, it gives you the option to go to the next mission, actually start the game on the Japanese release. Whereas on PAL and North America, you have to do it, which is something. Now, I will quickly mention as well that at the end of this particular mission here, we probably are going to get one, and I won't be surprised if we do. I'll be shocked if we don't. But normally you have police chasing you. Actually, that was a really good spawn because he's away from me. Hallelujah. Let's friggin' go. There we go. Yeah, okay, cool. Works for me. For some reason the frame rate was a bit off there. But yeah, normally you get a what's it called? A henchman or something, like a thug chasing you, which is always good fun. So, now we've got that one done, we now get on to one of my personal favourite missions. There's a reason why it's my personal favourite. You may remember how I mentioned the taxis in New York? Well, we're going to be a taxi driver. However, we're not going to be a normal taxi driver. No. So, we have an informant, and we're going to scare the living daylights out of him. How do we do it? Just drive fast. And also go near traffic. Also makes me laugh as well with him doing what he does. So you can do donuts, you can wreck the car if you so desire. Donuts usually does a lot of good as well. There you go. And that's it. A mission that's like 13 seconds. I think I got it down to 10. There was actually a funny... I can't even remember how I used to do it, but there was a certain strat that you could use where you bomb it from where you start and you go straight on, and then you'd hit one of the corner walls. And if you hit it at such an angle, you would end up... Well, let's say you'd go out of bounds by accident, and he'd immediately freak out as well, because he wasn't used to seeing the void, I guess. But yeah, it was a funny little thing. I do not remember how or why I got it. Like, yeah, it was just completely random. There probably is like a consistent way of doing it, but whenever I did do it, I was like, okay, this is a thing, I guess. It doesn't really save you that much time, I'll be straight. It doesn't really take like too long to do as well. The mission's very short, so it's a case of you get it, you get it. Also, showing how bad the frame rate gets when it lags, goddamn. So we want to stop out here, where we are, because this is where Cozy comes out. Oh, it could be Cozy, I don't really know how you pronounce it. How would you pronounce it? Cozy? I have no idea. So we've got to get him to the chopper, which this particular part of the mission here, and it's only a jump, but this jump in particular, that bit, I slow down for it because, unfortunately, a few years ago, when I was really grinding this game down for a while, is that, unfortunately, on that particular set of hills, I hit them jumps at max speed, and what I didn't realise was going to happen was the car landed and then immediately went off the other jump, but then, for some reason, physics decided to intervene and the car just went whoop and tipped over. Now, if your car tips over in this game, usually, whether it's on its roof is the easiest way to wreck it, or on its side, the car will be classed as wrecked. Now, in the case of certain missions, which you'll see a little bit later, tipping the car isn't exactly the end of the world, because before the car gets wrecked, when it's on its side, you have about 5 to 10 seconds. And again, yeah, it's not too bad. Should be, yeah, it's relatively straight, like I said. Most of the missions are point to point as well, which, again, I'm not sure how many people knew about it, but there's one particular thing that I will try and show off. I will see how far I get at the end, and we'll see. But basically, the end mission for this game is harder than any other game that I played, I think, personally speaking. Maybe there are a few other missions. Actually, maybe there's one or two other games I could probably name that are harder than the last mission. But I digress. It was a case of, and I was saying this to a few people here during the event, is that if you thought the car park mission was hard, you ain't seen nothing yet. Trust me. I'll save it till when we get to it. But yeah, if you know, then you already know. But if you don't, then yeah, you'll see exactly why. But anyhow. So that is Coast to the Chopper. Now, ideally, one of the things that we can do here, that I'll be waiting for him with this one, is he has to walk to the chopper. But if you have a police car chasing you, and you manage to slow the car down enough, it's very rare that you get this to happen. But if, for example, you manage to stop on that little arrow fast enough, and a cop smashed into you, your car will get pushed quite close to the chopper, and you can just jump in the chopper and go. Again, that's where the time save is for that mission. So that is Cozy to the Chopper. So the next one is called the Mercy Mission. So after exchanging weapons with someone in Fisherman's Wharf, after scaring the living daylights out of an informant, and getting a new person to the chopper, we now have the Mercy Mission. So it turns out somebody, I think it's a police officer, who's also on the force, he gets kidnapped, and the Mercy Mission is a thing. So this is basically 3 point A to point B's. It's about 4.5 minutes in length, give or take, something around there. And you're literally just driving from A to B, and it doesn't matter if you get police on you, which is fine because, hello, police, there you go. What else was I going to say? Oh, yeah. I'll try and explain this as best detail as I can. The PS1 version has 3 parts to the Mercy Mission. The PC version has 4. Now, the PS1 version does have the 4th part in there. However, again, you need Game Shark codes to access it. It's in the game's coding, I believe. They did find it on the North American release. I'm not sure if it's on the PAL release. It probably is as well. But it's on the reason I know this is because the cutting room floor, you know, got all see what was cut from the game. I didn't actually know that it was cut from the game. Although, if you keep an eye on the final cutscene, as in the final cutscene for the Mercy Mission, and also where we end up stopping, you'll realise something fishy is afoot. So the first, this one here, this cutscene is normal. So that is part 1 for both PC and PS1. The second stop point, part 2, PC, PS1. Part 3 shows on PC a different cutscene to the PS1 version. However, the PS1 version shows what happens at the end of part 4 on PC, at the end of part 3. So this mission is technically faster on PS1 than it is on PC, but they must have had to cut it somewhere. The other thing is as well about Driver 1 is it was one of the games where, like most PS1 games, it was one of them PlayStation 1 games that filled the disc. So they managed to fill all 700 megabytes. And I'll be honest, to fit 4 major cities with quite a fair bit of driving distance, all the missions, chase missions, the full lot, the amount of vehicles on the road. I mean, yeah, okay, the frame rate took a hit, I'll grant that, but also the fact is it's like, you know, it's quite impressive for what they achieved back in 1999, to be honest. So yeah, anyway, that's part 2 done and dusted, which means we now move on to part 3, which is the final part for PS1, but obviously PC has another one. But yeah, not a lot to the Mercy mission, to be honest. A lot of missions in Driver, there isn't much to them. It's just kind of like drive from point A to point B. But yeah, so just to kind of quickly reiterate as well with the Driver series is that the main Driver games started, obviously, with Driver, released back in 1999. Driver 2 released in 2000. We then had Driver 3, which released in 2004, I think it was. Driver Parallel Lines, which was a spin-off series, which we'll get into in a second, in 2006. And then the next major Driver game, which was Driver San Francisco, which was 2011. Now, the reason I say about a spin-off series is because if you do Driver 1, 2, and 3, they all released in order. The story connected itself from one game to the next, but then Parallel Lines came out after that. Parallel Lines, for those that don't know, follows the story of another person entirely by the name of Terry King, or The Kid, as he's known, or TK, I'm going to call him that for short. And the entire game itself, the missions, the characters, is a completely new storyline. And it was critically slammed. It wasn't as bad as Driver 3, but it just wasn't given a decent reception. But playing it back now, I personally enjoy the game. I think the story is quite good. To make things even more interesting, there was... this is where it gets a bit confusing. So there's Driver 76, which released on the PSP, which was a prequel to Driver Parallel Lines. Again, that was also to do with that story. And then, what else was there? There was Driver Renegade on the 3DS, which released in the same year as Driver San Francisco, and that supposedly takes place after Driver 1, but before Driver 2. And then we get to the most bizarre one of them all, which is, if I can remember which way the thing went, I think it's that one, setup. I didn't write the setup down. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, the most bizarre one of the lot, which was... what was it called? It was Driver San Francisco, but it was the Wii version. Yeah, so thank God for that. And long story short, the Wii version of Driver San Francisco has nothing to do with Driver San Francisco. It's like if you combined the Driver Parallel Line universe with Driver itself. So, for example, in Driver San Francisco, the plotline is completely different. Supposedly it tries to follow San Francisco's actual plot. But, for example, like Tobias Jones, who's Tanner's his partner from Driver 2 onwards, he's not in that game. Instead, he has a different partner entirely, because it apparently takes place before the first Driver game, Driver Renegade, which is, again, the story's all over the blooming place, to be honest. It's really bizarre. But, like, the main bad guy in Driver San Francisco on the Wii is a guy called Solomon Kane. Now, we're originally not introduced to him until Driver 2. So it's quite ironic that in Driver 2, you don't defeat him, you work with him in Driver 2, but you don't, like, go up against him as a boss or anything like that, whereas in that game, you actually, you know, you end up turning around going, oh yeah, I'm gonna, like, actually take you down and arrest you. Also, oh no, it's a setup, whatever will we do? Easy, we just drive back. Again, point A to B. And I'll be honest, a lot of missions that are in Driver, a lot of people see them as very harsh with the time limits, which is to be understandable. I can completely agree with that. But then there are some missions, if a timer started going up, that meant you got as much time as you wanted. Also, for some reason, one of the worst points for actual lagging and everything in San Francisco is this mission, because, as you can see, or as you did see, all the police were all in the garage, and yeah, okay, they weren't on screen, but they were still spawned in. Also, thanks for that traffic. Also, no, don't go that way. Okay, fine. Make me go the long way around. Fine. But yeah, you get the idea. So, it's one of them. That's a nice traffic turning. Also, yeah, I forgot we do have a horn. Quite ironically as well, I end up using the horn a fair bit in New York. It doesn't do anything, the horn, I will be honest with you. I wish it did, because it would be so good if you could just constantly do that and move cars out the way. But unfortunately, no, you can't do that in anything. But New York, I always show my frustration, to be honest. Yeah, just New York taxi drivers in this game are just absolute hell. They're basically one of the worst things you can think of. If I get this right, or is he going to see me? He's going to see me, okay. There's no other way I can do this. So, if that cop hadn't seen me before the end of the mission, then what I could have actually done is I could have gone in here and then just waited out, and it would have been fine. Also, that is the setup done. We now have one final mission for San Francisco, which is called Tanner and Slater, which is a chase mission. Nice and easy, nice and straightforward. Yeah, so I think it's literally like a chase mission. Slater is apparently an informant, but he betrays Tanner. He tries to reveal Tanner's true identity, so it's like Slater's getting in, it's like getting in too close. So you need to... There we go. Nice. Very nice. GG, that was pretty good. Nice. Okay, cool. Right. Well, that's San Francisco out the way. But yeah, we've took down Slater. We've now arrested him. And somewhere in that cutscene, I forget where, but they're basically like, they're going to Beverly Hills. So Los Angeles. Hence the reason why we're in LA next. Now, LA is quite broken. There are a few... Now, there's 3 missions that we're going to be using. Sorry, there's 4 missions in total in LA. The rest of them are like 7 or 8, maybe 9. Or 10 even, if in Miami's case, I think. But in these missions, we get to use a nifty little trick. Now, people who've seen this game may not know about this. If you do know about it, fair enough. But if you don't, then, again, fair enough. So the main idea about this is that you have to drive across the map with this cop car. And just to show you on the map whereabouts it is, it's all the way over there. However, we're not going to go there because we have an interesting glitch that we can use up our sleeve. Providing that the traffic plays ball and I don't get hit. Should be okay. You can, again, it's the same as the Superfly Drive mission where the car is extremely fragile. Also, LA is probably one of the worst for lag spikes too. Okay. So this is why. There you go. So by also yeah, it lags a bit. And quite a fair bit actually. There you go. We just sink into the ocean and it gives us a mission pass. That's it. There's nothing much to it. So the mission, if you do this game glitchless, which you can, although that proves otherwise, but you can do the game glitchless. And if you do it glitchless, that mission will take... It is still the fastest mission to pick for the speedrun if you do it that way. But in total, it's not even that bad to be fair. So this is Duval, and again, he's part of the plot, although we won't see much of him. I say he's part of the plot, I don't really think he's much of the plot. Taking him down is a bit of a hindrance. He likes to mess with people, apparently, and also throw traffic in your way as well. So hopefully I can grab him. Fingers crossed. Oh yeah, so again, infinite mass, what does it do? Easy. He can just wreck any car he wants. For us, it'd stop us dead, but for him, he doesn't. He just keeps on going. Oh, can I get him? Come on, come on, come on. Get him, get him. Yeah, that's close enough. Or is it not? No, it's not. Come on. Come on, Duval. Play ball, please. Oh god. Whoa, okay. Nice. Okay. If he hits a tree, I'll be very impressed. Because that tree is going to be solid. Okay, so where's he going to turn that? Hopefully he turns right. Might be able to get him if he turns right. No, he's not turning right. Is he slowing down? 30 seconds to catch him. If not, it'll be a mission fail and I can just restart. It's fine. There we go. We got him. Nice. Also, it's one of the rare few missions where you can actually keep driving after you've wrecked him. So if you want to, like, for the best interest as well, I didn't even mention this, and I've been doing it the whole time, is you may notice that a lot of the time when I'm doing missions, don't worry, the game's not crashed, it just takes longer to load this in, is you may notice that I always end up looking at a wall or looking behind me or looking to the side. It's because of the fact that I'm trying to keep the frame rate as high as possible. And then when it goes into like the render sort of thing, when it goes into like the transition and pause menu thing, that's literally the reason why it makes things quicker. So the Man Exit is quite a long mission. It's about 6.5 minutes long in length. It has 3 parts, although it's a main 2-parter mission. So part 1 is to go and pick up these guys from a car park, which are based downtown. So we're going to go and drive to them, pick them up, and then we're going to take them to a Chinese restaurant. The Chinese restaurant actually has one of our own in it. It has a police officer in it. But obviously we're working undercover now as part of a gang, which is run by a man named Castaldi. There's a quick plot update for you. So now obviously we're working under his gang, which means that because of this, it means that obviously we need to do anything and everything to earn our trust with his gang of mobsters. So even if it includes killing one of our own guys, obviously we're not going to let that happen, but you get the idea. So that's the whole reason for the Man Exit. So it's pick the 3 guys up from the car park, take them to the Chinese restaurant, and then afterwards we've then got to get them to the safe house. I won't tell you anything more than that because I feel like I may spoil the story a little bit for if I do it. So I'll probably explain it afterwards a little bit. And say afterwards, I mean after we've got to the Chinese restaurant bit, I think. Or I could always show the cutscene in glorious 240p, whichever works actually. So yeah, these are the car parks. You may recognize this car park. Yeah, it's the exact same one they used in San Francisco. It was like, let's just go with a slight read. Also, yeah, guys, just go through the wall like it's nothing as well. This is the one of the funny, rare occasions where the live car park has this weird glitch, and it always makes me laugh, is that you'll be sat there picking these guys up, and then all of a sudden, a car will just come through here. So if I look at the right moment, no, he's not. Damn, he didn't come through. But usually what happens is you'll always see a car go through the wall in the background. And then when you come back down the car park again, the car's like in front, it's come out the wall and then smashed into somebody else. So always good fun. Also, I'm going to try and keep away from this cop if I can. Nice. Not too bad then. Also, he was pretty close. So in terms of like lining yourself up for this, by the way, so you'll see on your headlights that there's like an X sort of thing. You can see like a slight where the beams cross. That's what you want to line up as close as you can with like the center of the line. Once you've got it settled on the center, that's basically like your no-kill line where you can just sit and drive. Obviously, we probably will have to dodge cars because traffic doesn't just go straight, it turns and lots of everything else. But for the most part, we can just sit here like this. And obviously as well, looking to the side, so we're getting max frame rate as much as we can out of it anyway. There will still be times where the frame rate will slow down, but again, this is fine. No worries. There's actually 2 ways of finishing this mission. And believe it or not, finishing the mission legit is faster than using the glitch. Now, for first-time players, I will just say, if you were to speedrun this, chances are I highly recommend getting the not doing the mission legit and going for the glitch, and then once you've like got the route down, you're definitely confident you can get there without any police, or you can get there as quick as possible without hitting much. The time save will definitely come to you. So again, we've got a cop chasing us, and there you go, he gets deactivated. So this is something that Driver 1 introduced into the series. Obviously it was first game of the series, so it introduced it. Driver 2 is much more frequent with these no-kill zones. So what I mean by no-kill zone, you've seen the line stuff that I was saying just then. But the other thing that they introduce is on certain missions, they deliberately take the police off you. Like, they make them lose you. Either they slow right down, or they just completely go, right, you're following, oh no, I don't know where you went, all of a sudden. Similar to GTA cops when you have 6 stars and then just go, dink, remove wanted level and they don't know who you are for some reason. Think of it like that, actually. That's probably a good way of thinking about it. So, I don't know where... Oh, the cops up there. That's fine. Also, you may hear repeat of the same line, which is like, you know, we got a tail, man, or something like that. I think they only had, like 3 voice actors, maybe 4 for the game, but there's obviously there was more, but I mean, in-game stuff. I think this... Don't quote me on this, but I think the guy that did the guy that was in the taxi mission, who was freaking out, I think it's the same bloke who voiced these guys, like the generic voice, if you can say it. The only one that actually is a little bit different, actually there's 2 characters that are different, is Rufus, when he's on about busting out Jean-Paul, and who's the other one? Tico as well, who you meet right at the start as well. So this is where the frame rate goes really weird now. So you can see here, when I'm looking into nothing, the frame rate's like pretty good. It's completely clear at 30. But yeah, if I look in front of me... Okay, you had to go that way, didn't you? Of course you did. What's his ultimate right? Oh look, there's nobody there. Okay, cop there. Can I get rid of him? No, I can't. Okay, I've got 2 cops from me. This is going to be fun. So I've got to somehow make one of them cops wreck the other. Okay, we've not got a roadblock on here, which is good. Okay, we've lost one. Can I lose the other? No? Yes? Okay, I really can't lose him. I lost him, but now he's right over where I don't want him to be. Where are you? There you are. Yeah, go in the hideout. It's fine. That'll work. Yeah, that works. Okay, cool. There you go. But yeah, it's one of the longest missions in the game, the Maddox set. I used to hate it as a kid. I could never beat the mission, but looking back on it now, it's not even that bad from memory. Okay, so, as I said, that's 3 missions out of 4 done. So last one is called Beverly Hills Getaway. Now, the first thing you have to do in this mission is go and pick a bunch of guys. Again, similar to the Maddox set. Let's make sure I get it right. Yeah, it's that one. So, Beverly Hills Getaway. The reason why we do this in the one with glitches, rather... In Glitchless, you do one called the test run, which is you drive from point A to B, again, like all the other missions, but just as fast as possible. The Beverly Hills Getaway is quicker with this glitch because you basically need to go and pick these guys up here. And coincidentally, actually, it's quite funny because... When people did, when we all used to do the run, it was always the test run, do the test run. And obviously then there was the glitch that was found. It was like, oh, okay, we're going to make this a bit more different. Let's change the route a little bit. So we found that it was actually way faster to do this one because it's a case of you pick the guys up and then immediately just drown the car and get a mission passed. There is actually a trick in this one, and when I say trick, I don't mean a speedrunning trick other than the glitch. I mean, this game tricks you. So in this mission, normally, when you do it normally, you pick the guys up, like we're gonna do, but instead of doing the glitch, if you were to do this mission normally, it says get us to the safe house. So, yeah, why not? We get a bit more felony on us. I didn't mean to stop there. I meant to stop a bit earlier than that. There we go. So these guys now going to get in, they're like, get us the hell out of here, get us to the safe house. However, if you go to that safe house, normally, there is actually, it's a setup. And it's like, damn, the police knew it was here, get to the other safe house. Whereas by drowning the car and getting there, and doing that, then it makes it way easier to move forward. Also, there's a police car, nice, okay, good stuff. Doesn't really matter about police as well, they can chase us all they want. It's not going to make much of a difference. It's like they don't follow you into the void on this, so it's fine. Also, if I get this at the right angle, I should be able to stay on all 4 wheels. Ideally, you want to just stay on all 4. Oh, okay, yep, spawn in oncoming traffic, mate. That's a great idea. Yeah, the frame rate is, as I said, it can get really bad. And this is about as good as the frame rate gets by looking to the side. So I think we're on like, what, ooh, nearly 20 FPS at this point? maybe. If I look forward, it gives me about 8, I'd say. But again, this is the whole reason we use the, you know, first-person view. Right, okay, and I get it. Not quite. That'll do. Oh, God. Okay, now we're on about 5 FPS. It's like slideshow territory. Good grief. Yeah? You get it? Slowly. We'll get there eventually. And there you go. Nice. Cool. Okay, so that's us done with LA. Which now means we can move on to New York. So New York has 2 different pathways. Now this is where the biggest difference, biggest change is made. So, you have 2 missions at the start of this. You have the one that we're going to be doing, which is called Grand Central Station Switch. It's followed up by a chase mission known as The Accident. If you go the other way and take the other mission, you get Luther's Heap of Junk and a mission called The Rescue. The Rescue is hard as nails. However, we found that by doing this mission and by doing The Accident, it saves about a minute over the other way. But the other thing is as well, is not only does it save a minute, it changes our ending for the game. The ending doesn't really matter because you'll get a similar ending both occasions. Also, nice, we've already got a cop on us, which is not a great start, but anywho. I ideally want to keep my damage as low as possible during this one because that's what I mean about taxis, they just go. Like, they don't even stop. If you see taxis, either drive around them or just slow down. It's the only way I can recommend it. Because my god, they are hell. Never try and drive full. See what I mean? They don't care. They just like, have they got a death wish or something? It's just so stupid. And I swear to god, the amount of times friggin' taxis have killed my runs are ridiculous. It's the reason why, as I said before, it's the reason why I have a strong hatred towards New York taxis. Apparently it's not much different to real life, but regardless, it's, yeah, they just move over for whatever reason. And I'm going to get a cop at the end here. Is he go? Okay. Oh, yeah, go on, go, 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 go. Go, go, go. Don't you dare turn, don't you dare turn. Whoa. So where his cone of sight is, if you accidentally tag the bottom of it, it means that, well, basically you're in trouble. There's not really too much else to it. But you can easily accidentally like trigger him, and then obviously the next thing it'll go, oh no, well you can't do this and you can't do that. So yeah, there you go. Also, this mission's a 3-parter, so it takes quite a while, like I said, about, I think altogether 6.5 minutes. But then the what's it called? The Accident is an interesting one. So up until now we've been one car wrecking another car. In The Accident, you play as the cop wrecking the driver. And supposedly the reason why you're doing that is because of the fact that, well, it's part of the plot, basically. I don't really know the exact reason behind it. Part 2 is the easier part of this mission, I'd say. It's part 3 that's more difficult. Because part 3 has these black sedans that constantly, they infinite spawn, basically. Okay, cop spawn there. I've never had that one before. I don't think I've had a double cop spawn on this for a while. But either way, I digress. So we're going to drive up to... So we've gone to Grand Central. We've met up with a contact, as you've seen. And then he's gone, right, okay, get to Grand... You know, obviously you're at Grand Central, fine. Up to, I think it was Union Station or something, wherever we've got to get to. So we've got to get to that train station, meet up with somebody else, and then we've got to take... We basically act as the middleman for an exchange here, pretty much. So I think there's a lot of money involved, and again, Castaldi's gang's involved and everything like that. But yeah, the different endings thing I was on about, by the way. So if you do Luther's Heap of Junk and the Rescue, in the Rescue you rescue 3 people, one of which is called Ali. And at the end of the game, you have a mission that's called the Ali situation. However, if you do this route, you don't end up doing that. Ali's situation, you don't rescue Ali. Ali just doesn't exist in that storyline. But it turns out that not rescuing Ali is actually faster than rescuing Ali. Mainly because of the fact that, in my personal opinion, doing this mission and also the Accident mission that comes after this is a lot easier because of the fact that it's just a chase mission. Chase missions are still pretty difficult, but you get the idea. Also, I think these are either FBI or Castaldi's gang members or something. I want to say FBI because black sedans and stuff like that. Ooh, okay, that was very close. Also, we're going to turn right down here. There's no... Oh, that's something else as well. There's no particular strat that I can use here that'll be like, oh, okay, if I just make them stay on there and lose them at the last minute. I literally just go to the end point and then hope for the best. That's it. There's not much to it. That's my strat for this. Just hope for the best. Okay, we've got one in front. Where is he? Oh, he's there. Oh, he got stuck on a lamppost. How good. And there's one there as well. Where am I? Okay, I'm not far off the end here. And there's one there. Okay. Should be good. Am I losing both? No, I'm not losing these. Or maybe I am. I could maybe lose them. Lost one. I lose one. Damn, these guys are sticking on there. Good grief. Hello. No. Goodbye. Wreck each other. Do me a favour. Demolition derby time. Let's do this. Okay. I have got plenty of damage, but we'll see. There we go. That'll work, yeah. Screw it, that'll work. Oh. There we go. Got him. Like I said, if you don't take any damage, that's the whole reason why I try and not take any damage at all, because if I have to wreck a car at the end, so be it. At least I've got the damage meter to do so. It's actually quite good about that as well. The funny thing is as well, so this is like a pointless intervention for this, but it takes you to this, and there's nothing else on that machine now. There's one mission, and it's the accident. There's nothing else. So I'm like, why take us there? Why bother? But yeah, this is the one where you actually play as the cop. So we're going to have to take down, I forget who it is that we're taking down, but I think he works as part of a gang run by a guy called Granger. So now we are the cop. So now, it's like a case of, see what you got. Oh yeah, cause the accident, this is it, yeah. There we go, nice, and I did. And that was me causing an accident, apparently. The thing is about New York is New York has two chase missions. You have the accident, and you've got one called the negatives. The negatives, not to be negative about it, ironically, is horrible as a mission. It is bad as a chase mission. If I get it first try, I'll be very impressed. But if I don't, oh well. At least I tried. Nice. Okay, so we're going to go and do a mission called Trash Granger's Car, which is fairly straightforward. So we're literally going to drive over to Granger's place. His car is parked out front of it. We're going to wreck it. Come back to the safe house. Job's done. Then we're going to do the negatives, where we've got a bunch of people in a car that we need to take down. We then have a mission called Rite of Passage, which is like the test run, point A to B. It's a long drive from one end of the map to the other. And then finally, last but not least, we have the final mission, which I'm not going to reveal the name of, because anyone that has played it will know what it is. If you don't, then I will not spoil it for you. Till we get there, anyhow. Also, can I get through that gap? Yes, I can. Thank you very much. Taxis are not being a pain today. It's ironic as well, when I was doing practice, I was like, wonder which missions are going to get on my nerves. So far, none of them. I think maybe Superfly Drive was the one that was like, but even that turns out that practice actually helps. Yeah, so these cops are always here. I've actually had one instance, ironically, and this is true as well. So I've had this one occasion where, also that's how you wreck Granger's car apparently, but I've had one occasion, I think maybe two actually. So there are a few bugs with this game. They don't show the head very often, but if they do, it's interesting. So for example, you may remember, if you cast your mind back to the start of this run, I did a mission called the setup, and I come out the garage. Sometimes that garage door doesn't open and you get stuck and there's no way out. And even resetting the mission sometimes doesn't work. The other one, which again is another game breaking bug that does happen and can happen, is the car for Granger just does not spawn. at all. It just despawns for some reason. Oh, nice. There you go. That's that mission done and dusted. On to one of the last 3 missions are extremely difficult. As I said, the negatives was pretty hard. Rite of passage is straightforward, but again, a bit difficult. And then I will show off the last mission properly. I'll try, and then I'll show you how we actually do it. Because otherwise, yeah, you won't actually see how hard it really is. So anyway, yeah, here we go, the negatives. So we've got to get them, and how are we going to do this? So I think he's going to go left. Is he going to go left? Yes, he is. Right, cool. Okay, he's not going to go the way I thought he was going, but okay. He really isn't going the way I thought he was going. Okay, cool. Come on, get it. Yes, got him. Nice. Nice. Okay, I'm glad that went well, because that one is a pain. It was always the bane of my existence. I think I had one run going into that mission where I think I was like 2 minutes ahead, and I lost like a minute and a half just because I was really bad when we were driving, and also he got away. So it was like, yeah. There is actually a particular route that he takes that's, if you get it right, it's interesting to see what the end result is. Because he's got infinite mass, you can actually get in front of him and he'll batter you all the way. Like, he'll just punt you at 150 miles an hour sideways. And unfortunately, if he's that unlucky, he will punt you again and he'll just wreck himself by accident and you'll be able to finish the mission. The problem is that's slower than getting a different way where he turns a corner like the first left and you can just grind him down. Something that they changed between Driver 1 and 2. In Driver 1, the damage system works by, like, if you actually hit someone, you'll get damage. If someone grinds on your paintwork, you'll get damage or you'll take damage. But in Driver 2, bizarrely enough, there was a lot more lenient in Driver 2. They made it a bit more difficult to wreck your car rather than easier, so you had a bit more leeway. I still think Driver 2 is just as difficult as Driver 1, but then considering how, when you speedrun Driver 2, how much different it is, and obviously you've got the PC port and all the rest of it, yeah, it's a fairly different game. And also only because of the PC version, the unofficial PC port, the game's actually able to be brought down. I think the record for Driver 2 is like 1 hour 15. I don't really know the last number, I guess like 47 or something. A guy called Brynu has got that record, and there's like 2 different categories, because unlike Driver 1, Driver 2 has a menu glitch which allows you to skip to like the last 6 missions in the game. But in Driver 1, we don't have that. We actually have to do things legit. So it's like, oh well. If there was something found, though, for Driver 1, I'd be very impressed. But there's no mission select either. There is actually a category which I tried. So, given how many missions are in Driver 1, I think it's 35 to 40 missions altogether. And we do about 20, I think. Not even that, for the speedrun. I was like, I wonder how long it'd take if you did all missions. So you'd have to like have saves at every different point where the path splits, then do every single mission. I think it took me just short of 3 hours. That was without failing missions, and even some of the chase missions could have gone better, but yeah, there you go. The more you know. So for curiosity as to how I know where I'm going, I know the map pretty well, but I also know like which streets to go down. So from memory for this one, the way I remember it is, in a minute there's going to be a load of roads on the left hand side, and it's the last road on there that I want. And then once I get up, when I start going up that road, I know that I then need to turn right on, I think it's the 2nd, maybe 3rd road, something along them lines. Also, if I get this as clean as possible, then I should be able to get this, to the end in like, with 25 seconds remaining. But yeah, let's just say after this mission, you haven't seen the final mission, you're in for a shock. because the way we do it, speedrunning wise, yeah, it's different. But I'll show you how you would normally try and do it. Whether I'll be able to get through, I mean, ideally, I just kind of want to show off a certain part of that mission, and I'll just restart and do it the actual way. I promise it won't take too long to show off, so it's fine. So yeah, so we're now up this street here, and we're going to take this first right here, and then once we drive down here, that road that's next to us, you can see one road over there, that actually joins onto our road, so we don't need to go down there, because otherwise there's no point, you're just going out your way to turn right anyway. So we're going to go straight down there, obviously, then you can see the actual end point, the end goal, or whatever you call it, is actually in sight now. So for us, we can now just navigate the streets nice and easy. And I will say as well, I've still got, if I can say, I've got PTSD from this mission, because I had a 1:11 pace run on console, which is extremely good. And I lost it at this very last corner because a taxi tipped me up sideways and I was well mad. But anyway, yes, that's Rite of Passage, which brings us on to the final mission of the game, which turns out the entire plot of Castaldi was to do one thing only. It was to kidnap the President of the United States. And what ends up happening is the President does get kidnapped, and you're going to now drive his motorcade in the final mission, which is appropriately named the President's Run. Yeah. This mission took me years to beat, and speedrunning wise, I'll show you how normally it goes. Let's just say that. So we've got to get him from this side to there. Doesn't sound too bad, does it? Except every cop and AI driver that is now chasing you has been turned up to 11. Like this. So you'll see in a minute, or in a hot second, that for those that may remember Driver 1, they remember one particular game mode. It was called Survival Mode, where the cops were turned extremely quick, and God, I'm making this look really easy now, aren't I? Come on, please, do you? Oh, God. Okay, no, that's close enough. You get the idea. Also, I can't tip over. There is one other thing as well that they can do, other than flipping me over, which they already have done, which is, as the mission progresses, is as you start to get closer and closer, the screen starts to go dark, it starts snowing, and all the rest of it. And yeah, basically the cops get turned up to 11 on that one. So that wasn't really much of a showcase, I apologise. But doing this game glitchless, this last mission is just hell. Especially if that happens. So here's how we actually do this mission. So one of these guys, hopefully not him. There you go. Will push us out of bounds. We'll go through a wall, through a building. And this is how you do it. And altogether, I think it takes like 1 minute and 10 seconds or something like that. Also, time will be coming up pretty soon. So make sure you're ready on time for that one. Give you a countdown for it. So then, oh look, there's water. And then we're just going to stop. And we're going to, albeit with better frame rate. There we go. And time. So to beat the game, you drown the president, basically. So in the game, one of his voice lines is "nice driving, son," or something like that. And there's a guy in my chat that always says "nice drowning, son." But yeah, that's how you beat the last mission in the game, by using out of bounds. But yeah, what did we get? 116.19. Not bad. I mean, practice was 115. The PB is 113. And like I said, maybe a 111. I'm trying to get a 111 at some point. Also, this does have some good dialogue at the end. You don't really find this out because obviously you don't really watch the cutscenes during the game. Gotta love the 240p cutscenes, don't you? Barely make out faces and talks. Eventually.
Take your badge back now, Tanner.
There we go. Yeah.
How much of the FBI did Vaughn drag down with him?
It's gonna take some time for us to shift right through all this. Meantime, take your badge back.
So Tanner went that far undercover.
Take it.
He doesn't know if he's a cop anymore, basically. And then this happens.
Tanner! Now you get yourself back here, Tanner.
He just walks off. Like, yeah, whatever.
Now you come back here and you pick up this badge. Tanner! You just bought yourself a whole lot of trouble, fella. This is your last chance, Tanner!
Now, unsurprisingly, before Driver 2 happens, you do have, obviously, Tanner does take his badge back and all the rest of it. But yeah, basically he goes too far undercover and he's like, I'm not taking my badge back. You find this out in Driver Renegade on the 3DS, bizarrely enough. That's the reason why he did take his badge back, supposedly. But yeah, so this is like the other ending, but I will just quickly mention, so once you beat the game and you beat that final mission, you do unlock a cheats menu, which will hopefully show up in a second. Yeah, there we go. So the cop now, which has cheats, you got invincibility, immunity, rear wheel, minis, stilts, anti-podium. To quickly just mention what these do, I mean, I'm not going to show all of them off, but you can have like mini cars, turns all the cars like Diddy. Stilts, unsurprisingly, does what it says. Anti-podium's an interesting one because, well, to just kind of show this off real quick, I promise I won't take too long showing it off, but imagine trying to do a speedrun with this cheat enabled. I don't think I could do it, and here's why. Yeah. You think the game's hard? Try this. So now right is left, left's right. It is, yeah, it's really bizarre. And doing jumps as well and everything, it's crazy. With all the cheats turned on, it's absolute pandemonium. I will quickly finish out just by saying as well, I'm going to show off the credits, which shows the new castle that I mentioned before, the 5th hidden city that you can only activate via Game Shark codes. But just to kind of close this run out properly, thank you very much to FINNRUNS for allowing me to participate in with not one game, but 2. I'm glad that I was able to be here and also to show games off as best as I could. Yeah, there's probably just a quick few mentions. Obviously, massive shout out to the driver community itself. Obviously, there's a driver madness, so driver main community, and a driver speedrunning community, so shout outs to both of them. Definitely props off to the guys at Reflections and Ubisoft. I know it's like, what, 25 years since they made this, but yeah, thank you for making such a great game in my book. But also, as well, obviously shout-outs to my own communities as well. They know who they are, and they've been supporting me every step of the way, and they are very supportive and everything like that. So thank you very much to those that did tune in for that. Yeah, I don't think there's too much else to explain other than, yeah, thanks very much for having me, and glad I was able to show off what Driver was like. Who knows? Maybe I'll be back again soon. So, yeah. On that note, I'll leave that there. So yeah, thanks for having me, and I'll hand it back over to the host.
Thank you for being here, Viper. Thanks for taking us to the destination, if not safely, at least quickly. A very big thank you from all of us at FINNRUNS for being here, and we hope to see you again soon. A little bit of ending speech in Finnish follows. Tosiaan tämä oli tämmönen runi, tämä oli hauska katsella Viperin ajoja. Ihan yksi pieni donationi luku tähän loppuun. 66 € vauhtijuoksun hallitukselta 2024. Tervehdykset Oulusta. Mahtava tapahtuma jälleen kerran. Mahtavia lenkkejä ja lenkkeilijöitä. Norpat ovat todella hyvä kohde lahjoittaa. Meilläkin on siitä kokemusta. Hyvä potti kasassa ja toivottavasti se siitä vielä kasvaa. Onnea loppuun asti. #Norpille. Oikein suuret kiitokset myöskin vauhtijuoksulle. Oululainen pikajuoksutapahtuma tämä. Ja itse kun olen Oulusta kotoisin alun perin, niin täytyy sielläkin joskus käydä. Toivottavasti nähdään vauhtijuoksuakin. Mutta nyt sitten otamme tauon ja alamme säätämään Super Marioa seuraavaksi. Palaamme asiaan.